Hello, my name is Elida and this will be my first ever YouTube video. In this video I would like to talk a little bit about my art progress during the last couple of years. Where I was, where I am now, and also where I want to go further with my art. So, to start off, I wasn't a complete beginner 2 years ago. I used to draw a lot during my childhood and also early teenage years. But when I started high school, I gave up on my dream of ever being able to work with art professionally, and that's when I gave up. So I actually didn't draw basically at all from high school to the end of university, which was around 6 years, other than like a couple doodles every now and then. So I started working as a flight attendant after university and got a lot more free time with layovers and late night flights. We also had an iPad with work, a tiny little one, where I decided to download Procreate. I don't know, I can't remember where I learned about it, but I think it was like Instagram or TikTok or something like that. And I was like, why not? Something to kill the time. Even though I was even worse than I was in high school and I still didn't really think about working with art anymore, I had a lot of fun drawing on Procreate during work. And I decided that maybe I should give it another shot, this art thing. That's when I decided to study illustration. So, if there actually is anyone watching, you might think that this study or the school was what made me improve over these past couple of years, but that is actually not the case, because this school focused mostly on learning, how do I describe it? Learning how to get into the work environment as an illustrator, the different types of work there is, and those kinds of things. So more about like practical work stuff, less like art theory and stuff like that. Stuff. So how did I actually do it? How did I actually improve as much as I did the last couple of years? Well, I realized that the school actually wouldn't help me become a better artist, but I still decided to continue the study because it was really practical knowledge, especially if I wanted to pursue working with art. So I decided that I would have to do the other part on my own. So, first off, I started to draw with purpose. And this will say that I started setting a goal for what I wanted to learn with my art. For example, if I wanted to try out a specific art style, a cool pose or lighting, etc. This was actually a really nice way to learn for me because studying often seemed quite boring, and it's really hard for me to just sit down and like focus on art fundamentals by itself. But by implementing it to an art piece, it made it more interesting for me. Like draw something you want to draw, but just like add one thing that you also want to practice on, or a couple things, depends on what you feel like, but try not overdoing it. Like if you try to add too many things on one time, it might become so difficult that it becomes demotivating. So keep it simple, at least in the beginning. This also really helped me get out of my comfort zone, because before this I would only just draw whatever I felt like, whenever I felt like, and I ended up just drawing the same things basically. So really recommend it. Second off, I started to use references, and I was never one of those people that considered using references cheating. It was just that because I always drew so impulsively, I never really wanted to take the time off to find references. I just wanted to draw what I wanted to draw right here, right now. So the way I solved this for me was actually just saving a lot of references on Pinterest and Instagram during times where I wasn't drawing, so that when I started drawing or felt like drawing, I already had like a bunch of nice references ready for me, saved, that I could just go through instead of having to look them up at the moment, so that I could draw as quickly as possible. Thirdly, I started to carry around a sketchbook everywhere I went, so that instead of just like scrolling on my phone when I was on the bus or the tram, I could just sketch. I mostly just sketch the people I see around me or something cool yeah, not a lot of like think from my imagination, because I just want to be brain dead. Usually I'm quite tired and just want to like mindlessly draw whatever I see. But this is also really good because it keeps your hands warm, so that you're always ready to continue drawing, and that it also helps you like remember what you've learned earlier and so on. Okay, so everything I've mentioned until now has been mostly about output, about creating art. But input is also really important. So input is what you acquire through study, for example, or from what you see. But it doesn't mean that it has to be boring. For me, my favorite type of input is watching animated series and movies that inspire me. Like, for example, Arcane, which is amazing, or like the Ghibli movies. Nimona is great. There have been so many amazing animated movies lately. So there's a bunch of inspiration. Just watching these in itself and being inspired is enough, of course. But if you want to rewatch it and try to like just think a little bit more what it is with these movies that you like, what it is with the art that makes it work, that can also really help. And then of course trying to implementing it in your own art, that would be the output again. This also works by following artists you like on platforms like Kara and Instagram, giving them a follow, and then even then you might realize that you follow a lot of similar artists or artists that do a lot of similar things. Try to figure out what it is those artists do that you like, because then you discover something more with yourself and what you appreciate with art, and this will also help you over time creating your own art style. Doing actual studies is also really important, of course. I got a book, Anatomy for Sculptors, and studied some anatomy that really helped, but I should definitely study some more. I also did some portrait studies from pictures from Pinterest, and did some light and color studies, like mostly from YouTube videos and so on. I think my last big point I want to mention is that it's also incredibly important to continue having fun. Don't only study, doodling and sketching is important to keep your motivation up. So always make time to do what you find fun. So I have improved a lot and I'm really happy with where I have gotten, but actually lately I feel like I have stagnated quite a bit, and that's also why I wanted to start making content on YouTube. I want to use YouTube to hold me accountable and kind of force me into actually studying some more and not get stuck in my comfort zone as I have done many times before. I plan on sharing both my plan and all the resources I use in my quest to become the best artist that I can be, so that if anyone wants to follow along and maybe improve with me, then just follow along, I guess. Yeah, this was kind of awkward, but I hope anyone finds this video entertaining. Bye bye!